appears to want to do to create a roadmap towards peace.
Erol Morkoç, listening to this, UK spokesperson for Republicans overseas. Hello, Erol.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Good evening. I see, just in the last few seconds, I see that the AFP news agency is reporting that President Zelenskyy has declined to apologise to Trump. What do you make of that, Erol?
I think it's a poor choice. Like the prior gentleman was talking about how well Keir Starmer prepared to come in and have a meeting with President Trump, how he read the room, how he played to his advantages, whether it's like bringing the letter from the king, these kind of things. You contrast that with Zelenskyy, who comes in defiant, who also isn't on the same ideological wavelength. One thing I think that was a big takeaway for me was the body language when Trump referred to all of the soldiers who had been killed, referring to both Russian and Ukrainian soldiers. And Zelenskyy was visibly agitated by that because he kept saying, and rightly so, that he had been invaded, and these were the invaders. But his lack of understanding the wavelength where Donald Trump was operating, I think, only allowed the situation to get out of hand. The idea that he's not going to apologize, I don't think Trump wants an apology from him as much as he wants him to come and commit to peace. And peace is going to have to come with concessions that Zelenskyy needs to make. I think one thing for everybody to take away here is we might be looking at this as a geopolitical meeting, while both of these leaders have used it as a domestic red meat sort of a policy meeting where everybody's playing to their base at home, because this doesn't really help anybody in the short term. But again, this is a very quick news cycle, and things can all be ameliorated if things get back to squares. But the idea that he's not going to apologize it adds more to the idea that perhaps the U.S. would do better dealing with a different Ukrainian leader. Whether or not that's where this goes or not remains to be seen.
Zelenskyy, when he was asked in Fox News tonight if he should apologise to President Trump, says, quote, "We have to be very open and very honest. I'm not sure that we did something bad." So President Zelenskyy essentially said, look, that he talked frankly to President Trump and the Vice President as well. How could, Erol, Zelenskyy have gone back to Ukraine and not pushed back and reminded people that it was Russia who was the aggressor? Could he have sat there and remained silent around that?
It depends. It depends on what his strategic objectives were. So if the objectives were, which I had touched on, that potentially both leaders ended up using this as a way to galvanize their red meat support at home, then I agree with you. And also, Donald Trump says each world leader should be their country first. So Zelenskyy coming in and being very staunchly, pro-Ukrainian is not surprising, and I agree with you. Just as Donald Trump and J.D. Vance felt that the American people wanted these grievances aired, and maybe Zelensky's right. Maybe that there is no need for an apology here. Maybe this is what a free and open and transparent dialogue looks like, and perhaps that's the best thing for this situation right now.
Was he kicked out of the White House though?
Yeah, I mean, he was kicked out effectively under the auspices of he's not willing to make peace right now. So when you're willing to come back and talk under the terms that Donald Trump is set, then perhaps do that. And I suggest wearing a suit for once, because people find it a little bit off-putting that you come dressed up like this when you're meeting the U.S. president. And it at some point, he declares the suit a costume, and what he's wearing is the real thing. But that's not how the world works. So we need to get back to square one, and we need to have a discussion here. But I don't think there needs to be an apology based on what Zelenskyy said there. He has a good point, and maybe it's good that it's in a transparent, open dialogue form.
We're keeping across this Fox News interview for you all. By the way, we're going to play the exchange in full between President Trump and President Zelenskyy and J.D. Vance, the Vice President, in a moment or two. If you've missed it, you've been out and about, we'll be playing it in full here on 5 Live in the next few minutes. As I say, we're staying across this Fox News interview, which Zelenskyy is doing as we speak. He's just said it would be difficult. He's admitted it would be difficult for Ukraine to hold off Russia without United States support. So look, Bill, it looks like he's being pragmatic in at least how he's addressing those type of questions. We know that Sir Keir Starmer rang President Trump this evening. Is that tokenistic, Bill? Has our Prime Minister got any clout any realistic influence to peace build between these two leaders?
Yes, I think he has, and it's most certainly not tokenistic. Keir desperately wants a peaceful outcome, but a secure outcome where we don't face the threat of Russia doing this all over again. And look, when it comes to apologies, I think, frankly, on both sides, there could be apologies today. For Donald Trump to say that he's neither for Russia nor for Ukraine, he's in the middle. I mean, Russia is the aggressor. Russia invaded Ukraine, but we are where we are. And what's desperately important is that they get back in the room. And the representative from the Republicans abroad who spoke, who said, Zelenskyy needs to realise there needs to be concessions. That's probably true, and the Russians need to realise there need to be concessions. But you can only achieve that if both sides are party to the negotiations. And I think what has been really retrograde about this process that Donald Trump initiated by his direct contact with President Putin, it's been totally one-sided. The dialogue, the negotiations are with Russia and Ukraine, let alone other partners like the UK and Europe aren't in the room. And I think that needs to change if we're to get meaningful progress and if there are to be concessions on both sides and to achieve peace.
And so what do you think? Who do you think has the clout here or the ability to bring these two men together?
Well, I think there is a unity within Europe. And I think that will be demonstrated at the meeting in London on Sunday. But, historically, the UK, based on the special relationship, has been a broker between Europe and the American presidency. And clearly from the meeting yesterday and all that went before it, I think there is an understanding, a chemistry between Keir Starmer and Donald Trump. And I think Keir has got to use every ounce of access and negotiation to President.
Sorry to cut across you. I'm just saying where Trump has, and we'll try to bring you the actual audio of this, but President Trump has approached journalists tonight. And some of what he has said, let me convey to you some of what he has said. We'll try to bring this to you in full when we can pull it down. But he has told journalists the following: I want immediate peace. President Putin is going to want to end it. And you saw what I saw today, says Trump. He's referring to Zelenskyy. This is a man that wants to get us signed up and keep fighting. And we're not doing that. Not for this country. And Trump continues, Putin has got to say, I want to make peace. He doesn't have to stand there and say about Putin this, Putin that, all negative things. He's got to say, I want to make peace. I don't want to fight a war any longer. His people are dying. He doesn't have the cards, just so that you understand it. I can tell you. So that's Trump, President Trump, clearly Erol and Bill, telling Zelenskyy what he needs to hear. Erol?
I mean,
does that sound pro-Putin to you?
No, it doesn't sound pro-Putin, not at all. It sounds like somebody who's committed to peace, which Donald Trump is. I think the idea that he's a mediator in this. I mean, just to push back on what the other gentleman said a little bit. I understand the idea that Putin is the aggressor here, but if you're going to be a mediator, my gosh, we have to start with a sort of a static level. And Donald Trump willing to play that role to bring peace, he's not playing that role in the favor of Vladimir Putin. I mean, you have to look at some of the numbers here. There's $20 trillion of rare earth and other resources under the east where Putin has already taken that land aggressively. He's lost about 500,000 lives. That's $40 million of resources per dead Russian soldier. People don't realize how big these numbers are and how much Vladimir Putin is willing to throw at that situation. So you're dealing with the reality of a guy also who has fifth-generation stealth aircraft and hypersonic weapons that can put a nuclear missile in London in 5 minutes. So it's wise to seek détente. And that's what Donald Trump is. I mean, people can castigate him for his unique styles, But look at with North Korea, did we get anywhere? Not really, but we stopped missiles being shot for the entire Trump presidency. And the idea that we're going to bring about negotiations and discussions, if Zelenskyy is not going to get on board with that, the concessions that Russia is going to have to make is they're going to have to give up all of their prisoners, effectively. That's the only thing that we can really make them do. And at least so those heroes come back.
I don't know, Bill, if this is an olive branch or not, but Zelensky's just been asked if he regretted what happened today, and he replied as follows: yes, I think it was not good. So Zelensky saying that he now regrets what has happened today. Hasn't got as far as an apology, but regrets what has happened, Bill.
Well, the realpolitik suggests that that's a good move, because it's the beginning of, look, let's come back together and let's talk about it. I think you can make legitimate criticisms of both parties in the way that public dialogue was conducted today. I mean, frankly, why it was conducted in public, begs a question to me. I'm a former foreign minister. I've never known real negotiations like that take place in public, not if you want to make progress. And in terms of President Trump, and, you know, you're indicating he's steadfast tonight, we all know from the way President Trump operates that what he says one day can change the next day. And with Zelenskyy saying that he regrets what happened today, I hope overnight there will be reflection and there will be a move by President Trump to bring him together again.
I'm going to stop you, Bill. I'm going to stop you, if you don't mind. I know you'll be as interested in this as I am. So President Trump on the tarmac, in front of his Air Force One plane, presumably, has been speaking to journalists in reaction to what happened in the Oval Office tonight. Let's listen to it straight away.
We had a meeting today, as you know, with President Zelenskyy, and I would say it didn't work out exactly great from his standpoint. I think he very much overplayed his hand. We're looking for peace. We're not looking for somebody that's going to sign up a strong power and then not make peace because they feel emboldened, and that's what I saw happening. I'm looking for peace. We're not looking to go into a 10-year war and play games. We want peace. And it was just my impression that if we do that, if we sign up, he's looking for something that I'm not looking for. He's looking to go on and fight, fight, fight. We're looking to end the death. 2,000 people died this week. Soldiers, more than that, but 2,000 approximately people died this week. Young Ukrainians and Russians. And somebody would say, why do you care about Ukraine and Russian soldiers? I care about them. I care about everybody. And we're not doing that. Now, if we don't do anything, he's going to have to make peace, but he's dealing with a very weak set of cards. If we sign, he's dealing with a very strong set of cards, and that he doesn't want to make peace. So that's where we are. It's very simple. I'm not looking to get into anything protracted. I want immediate peace. President Putin is going to want to make, and he wants to end it. And you saw what I saw today. This is a man that wants to get us signed up and keep fighting, and we're not doing that. Not for this country. So we're setting a lot of records. Economically, we're setting records, and I think every way we're setting records. One of the best is the right track, wrong track. You saw that. We're on the right track for the first time in over 27 years. People are impressed with that. The other thing is the feeling about our country. The feeling is great. It's up 48% on feeling on business. And that's the record we've never had. There's never been a record where we've ever gone up that much in such a short period of time. So we're doing really well. And I guess some of you are coming with us. And if you are, I hope you're going to have a good flight. What? He's got to say, I want to make peace. He doesn't have to stand there and say about Putin this, Putin that, all negative things. He's got to say, I want to make peace. I don't want to fight a war any longer. His people are dying. He doesn't have the cards, just so you understand it, okay? I can tell you.
Could you tell Zelenskyy to leave the White House?
I don't have to tell you that. Go ahead. I think you know the answer to it. What? Wait. Look, I don't trust or distrust anybody. I just want to get a deal done. And if the deal happens, good. But you can't embolden somebody that does not have the cards, and all of a sudden that person says, oh, well, now I can keep fighting. We're not going to keep fighting. We're going to get the war done or let them go and see what happens. Let them fight it out. I want anybody that's going to make peace. If he's capable of making peace, which he may or may not be, but I want somebody that's going to make peace. Again, he doesn't have the cards. When we sign up, he's got all of the cards. That doesn't mean he can fight. He's got to stop the fighting, stop the death. He's losing hundreds of thousands of soldiers. It's time to stop the death. Say it? Well, he says he wants it now. He wants to come back right now, but I can't do that.
Do you want immediate ceasefire?
They should have an immediate ceasefire. That was the other thing he didn't want to do about ceasefire. A ceasefire could take place immediately. A contract, if you want to end the war, you sign up an agreement. That's going to take a period of time. It takes time. I want it to end immediately. And I think if you had a ceasefire, it would be a ceasefire, a real one, that would end it. But he doesn't want to do that. That's fine. Do a better deal. I want it to end immediately. I want a ceasefire now. He says, oh, I don't want a ceasefire. Well, all of a sudden, he's a big shot because he has the U.S. on his side. Either we're going to end it or let him fight it out. And if he fights it out, it's not going to be pretty. Because without us, he doesn't win.
Well, that again, really interesting. What President Trump has just said. There was a passing reference to President Putin when President Trump said that Putin wants to end it. It just seems to me, listening to that there, Erol Morkoç, that Trump was pronouncing everything that Zelensky's got to do and no instructions about what Putin's got to do. None.
Well, the fact of the matter is Putin has all of the cards for what he wants. The only leverage that we can get out of Vladimir Putin, unless we're willing to commit more lives, is the return of the, I think, roughly 300,000 soldiers and prisoners he has taken. And right now, if peace and detente can bring those 300,000 people home from effectively Russian gulags in Siberia or whatever these people have done to these like horrific situations happen to these people, that's the concession you're going to get. You're not going to get any concessions when it comes to the land that he's taken. He's fought and bled for that land. So those are the cards that he's playing, and he's got the cards for that. So it's a return of prisoners, and that's about all you're going to get.
You're a spokesperson for
Republicans
overseas. Bill Rammell, you're a former Labour minister. Do you detect a change, a difference of tone between what President Trump says about Putin and what he says about Zelenskyy?
Regrettably, yes. Sometimes President Trump appears to be just parroting the lines that come from the Kremlin. And when I hear that the only thing that Russia will concede is prisoners, why, at the start of peace negotiations, is President Trump accepting that the land that Putin has invaded and has annexed, that's a given? If we're going to have a peace process, then everything needs to be on the table. And listening to President Trump, when he says that Zelenskyy, all he wants to do is fight, I don't think that's correct, and I don't think that's what Zelenskyy is saying. But he feels like he's been backed in to a corner. What I will say is the fact it's unusual for the president to give such a long series of question and answers when he's getting on the helicopter to go to Mar-a-Lago. And I think that's probably because he feels he needs to justify and explain what has happened today. If that is an indication that there is a mechanism to get back to a dialogue, then I think that is positive. But you know,
it was obviously in a completely different context, Bill. But when I hear President Trump criticize President Zelenskyy for saying fight, 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 obviously a completely different context. But wasn't that exactly what Trump did when he felt he was being attacked? Quite literally, when the bullet grazed his ear, shot his ear. He punched the air and said, fight, fight, fight to a crowd of people. So the point I'm trying to make is he's not someone that is averse to fighting, is he?
No, and your analogy is accurate. That's exactly what Donald Trump said when there was a disgraceful assassination attempt on his life. And I think there should be a respect for Zelenskyy and the Ukrainian people of what they have sacrificed to try and withhold Putin. But the other positive I took out of that impromptu press conference by the helicopter was that President Trump said Zelenskyy has said he wants to come back right now. I can't do that immediately. That suggests to me that maybe, and it may take the weekend intervention, but maybe on Monday they get back together. And I think that would be a very positive step forward. And if there's been renewed pressure from Europe on Sunday, very strong messages from Keir Starmer that there needs to be a re-engagement, that's what needs to happen.
Thank you very much indeed for speaking to us tonight, Bill and Erol. Just before we go to the news, Julie's in Sheffield. Hello, Julie.
Hi, Stephen.
Hello. An extraordinary night.